Today at 3:48 a.m., a Ukrainian command cell had roughly 78 seconds to complete a naval strike. Planners described as unprecedented in complexity and consequence. Their objective was Portolia 4, a cargo vessel reportedly carrying components sufficient to produce 200 Shahed-type strike drones. If the synchronized operation succeeded, Ukrainian planners assessed it would deny the Russian front a massed wave of low-cost loitering munitions for months, and create temporary operational breathing room for ground forces. If it failed, the shipment would replenish achy attrition weapon and risk overwhelming Ukraine's air defenses. This account integrates the operations transcript and AAR. Any third-party items are explicitly labeled as claimed. 24 hours earlier, intelligence in a cave bunker flagged the Portolia 4 Usset entered the Caspian Sea. The ship was escorted under what planners estimated to be a 0.5 billion security umbrella, multiple warships, anti-air systems, and aerial patrols. With under 48 hours until the vessel reached port, a conventional interdiction of the convoy was assessed as infeasible without unacceptable risk. Facing that problem set, planners identified one exploitable areas. Defenses were oriented upward toward air threats. Russian sensors were oriented toward airborne threats, leaving naval and sea-level approaches comparatively unattended. Acting on that assessment, commanders authorized a high-risk layered strike concept and released an unmanned surface vessel US designated to be as the initial actor in a 3-vector assault. Over the next 24 hours, the CB used electric propulsion in short 200-meter approach hops to minimize thermal and acoustic signatures, moving into an ambush locution the convoy's path. By 3:40 a.m., 8 minutes before 3:48, the CB lay dead in the water with its systems active. The Ukrainian command displays the Russian convoy presented as a cluster of heat signatures advancing into the kill zone. The tactical window opened. The plan hinged on a 3-vector deception and precise timing. Vector 1 of 3, a spring-loaded decoy carrying a radar reflector and a heat source. This device was described as an inexpensive area limitator with a radar reflector and heat source designed to appear as an inbound cruise missile. The decoy immediately produced a high-priority contact on convoy displays. Vector 2. At the same instant, the CB transitioned from stealth to a high-speed kinetic approach. Its main engine ignited, and the vessel accelerated toward the convoy at roughly 50 miles per hour at East-H. The combination of an apparent airborne missile threat and a fast surface contact forced Russian crews and sensors to triage threats under severe time pressure. On the bridge of the escort corvette TUA, the radar operator reported 2 simultaneous high-priority tracks, one consistent with an incoming cruise missile and the other a fast-moving surface target. Doctrine and training prioritized the aerial threat. The corvette's command authority ordered an aerial intercept, a man-portable Warship-launched infrared-guided interceptor, referred to in the transcript as an Igler variant, a system with an estimated unit cost of roughly $50,000, was launched from an Mi-8 helicopter overhead. Sensors and crews concentrate on the presumed missile, and for a moment, the convoy's defensive focus narrowed to one locus. That narrowed attention was the tactical objective, enabling activation of Vector 3-foot's payload release. With attention redirected, the SE's mission shifted to Trojan horse employment. A hatch opened and 4 nano FPV drones were expelled vertically. Small remotely piloted platforms roughly the size of a shoebox were expelled vertically. Their motors brought them to hover. Then they pitched forward into coordinated attack formation. The transcript describes these as the trivector assault. The decoy to draw radar and interceptors, the nanoswarm to engage and fix local defenses, and the sieve itself to close and deliver a heavy warload. The interceptor successfully engaged and destroyed the decoy. Russian crews celebrated what they believed to be an effective defense. That celebration lasted barely a second. The single contact multiplied into 5 distinct threats on tour screens. 2 fast scheme contacts to port, 2 to starboard, and 1 large surface missile bearing on the convoy. The situation rapidly transitioned from single-axis defense to a distributed multis engagement. The corvette ordered CWS and point defense measure engage the surface contacts, and its automatic cannons along with those on the cargo ship spun to life. Together they produced a combined volume of suppressive fire described in the transcript as approximately 10,000 rounds per minute. A continuous wall of traces intended to shred incoming small aerial and surface threats. 2 Russian Hunter counter-UAS drones referred to in the narrative as Hunter-killer drones, each with a notional platform cost far above that of the nano FPVs, were launched from the corvette to intercept the swarm. What followed was a brief intense aerial close-quarters engagement. On the port flank, Ukrainian operators deliberately exploited the limitations of the CIWS engagement envelope. The automatic cannons had restricted depression angles and difficulty engaging contacts, skimming the sea surface at very low altitude. One Ukrainian operator elected to maneuver a nano drone towards the CIWS fire, using the tracer stream as moving concealment and bait, pulling the Hunter under the CIWS umbrella. The Russian Hunter-killer drone pursued that contact into the CIWS umbrella and was destroyed, apparently by friendly defensive fire. The port flank was momentarily cleared. On the starboard side, a different sequence unfolded. A second Hunter closed on 2 Ukrainian nano drones. One Ukrainian operator diverted and drew the Hunter's attention, while the other accelerated toward the primary objective. The diverting operator then executed a deliberate collision course, a sacrificial kinetic intercept, a low-cost nano drone for a high-value Hunter drone. The exchange removed a Hunter from play and opened a clear lane toward the Port Olia 4. In under a minute, the flanking Hunter drones were neutralized, one by friendly fire-induced collision with a defensive fire, the other by a kamikaze interception. 3 Ukrainian nano FPVs remained and advanced unopposed on the high-value targets. The sequence highlights a key tactical logic. Use low-cost expendables to overload decision cycles and to create asymmetric value exchanges. Cost ratios in the transcript are explicit. The nano platforms cost a few hundred apiece. The Hunter and Corvette interceptors represented orders of magnitude greater expense. The 3 surviving nano drones closed on Port 4. Deck crews responded with small arms and crew-served weapons, AK-74S, PKM machine guns, and at least 1 DP-61 grenade launcher are reported to create a close-in defensive barrage. The environment became a chaotic point defense shootout. Tracers, shrapnel and smoke reduced operator situational awareness. 1 portside nano was struck in the air and lost. Another pressed an attack run and impacted a propeller. Its 0.4 kg-shaped charge detonated, producing a focused armor-piercing effect. Molten jet perforated the propeller blade, shattering it and seizing the drive shaft. The 2,000-ton cargo vessel lost propulsion and began to drift dead in the water. Attention remained focused on the crippled merchant, and that focus delivered the decisive opportunity for Vector 3. The SEB, no longer a small blip on radar, resumed its high-speed terminal run described as a 30-foot unmanned surface missile traveling at about 50 miles per hour and impacted the corvette's hull, amidship, a war load the transcript cites at approximately 2,000 pounds reportedly guided by onboard autonomy. The result was catastrophic. A near-simultaneous shockwave and displacement of water that inflicted structural failure, magazine detonation, and rapid loss of the corvette. The account describes catastrophic structural failure and rapid loss of the corvette within seconds of the impact. Survivors and debris were left on the surface. The surviving nano drone executed a side impact on Port Olia 4's containerized cargo. Its shaped charge ignited stored Shahed components and packing material, producing a secondary conflagration. Flames, smoke, and subsequent cook-offs of energetic materials rendered the vessel a burning hulk. Deck crews abandoned ship into the cold sea. Within hours, the physical effects rippled into strategic consequences. The destroyed corvette and damaged cargo ship interrupted the maritime supply line used to transport Iranian-origin drone components through the Caspian. The operation's authors claimed the loss forced a reroute of shipments overland, increasing transit time and cost and degrading throughput to the Shahed assembly facility referenced in the narrative. The transcript reports a roughly 30% reduction in production quotas at the Alabar assembly site. independent confirmation is needed. The operational impact extended to air defense posture and ground operations. By denying the anticipated influx of 200 Shahed components, Ukrainian air defense units reportedly encountered reduced saturation pressure. Ground formations exploited this window according to the report and advanced to liberate roughly 5 square miles of occupied territory. Those territorial gains are presented here as reported outcomes linked to the interdiction's operational effects and not as independently confirmed facts. The account frames the strike as a 4-layer victory: tactical surprise ATSIA, asymmetric cost exchange favoring locust munitions, interruption of the logistics chain, and operational follow-on on the ground. Financial arithmetic is emphasized in the original narrative. A $1,200 unmanned surface vessel and low-cost nano-drones neutralized a $50 million corvette and destroyed roughly $100 million worth of cargo. According to the source, these monetary comparisons are intended to illustrate the asymmetric economics of modern small-unit maritime warfare. The dollar figures are included as reported estimations within the primary narrative. Satellite imagery attribution in the supplied transcript is noted as coming from NASA's VR system and is characterized by the narrator as confirming one corvette sunk 12,000 ton cargo ship, a total loss and $100 million in destroyed components. This script treats those satellite claims as alleged unless formally corroborated by open verifiable imagery and independent analysis. Beyond material loss, the episode exposes a doctrinal tension for a fleet split between the Caspian and Black Sea theaters. The Russian fleet calculus, as framed by the report, now faces a dilemma: concentrate escorts in the Caspian to secure supply lanes, and thereby attenuate blockade forces in the Black Sea, or accept continued interdiction risk and prioritize assets elsewhere. Either choice carries operational cost. A redeployment could open Ukrainian opportunities in the Black Sea. Inaction concedes a persistent vulnerability to low-cost, high-tempo, unmanned attacks. Technically, the action underlines 3 operable lessons. First, sensor prioritization can be exploited by relatively simple decoys when defenders are trained to prioritize high-value airborne threats. Second, low-altitude skimming and surface approaches exploit specific mechanical constraints in CIW's depression and engagement arcs. Third, inexpensive disposable platforms can impose disproportional cost on more expensive systems when employed in coordinated time-sensitive combinations. The narrative closes with a forward question rather than a judgment. With maritime logistics exposed to asymmetric unmanned systems, how will naval command structures rebalance escorts and convoy protection?